going on, guys? Platimer Cards in the house, and it is a nice sunny day outside. It is a little bit windy, so I hope my cards don't blow away, but I thought I would record a video outside today. Today, I'm going to be showing you guys my Numeron deck. So without further ado, let's get started. But actually, before we get started, if you like what you see, please like, comment, and subscribe, and let's go ahead and check this out. So first of all, we're going to be running 3 copies of Numeron Wall. Numeron Wall is a must-have for this deck. Its effect is if you control no cards except Numeron Wall's quick effect, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard, activate one Numeron network directly from your deck. You can only use this effect of Numeron Wall once per turn. When you take battle damage, you can special summon this card from your hand. If you do, end the battle phase after the damage step. So it works really well, one, to search your spell card, and then secondly, in order to stop yourself from taking damage, because in this deck what you do is you spam out all the Xyz monsters, and then a lot of times you're not going to have anything on the field during your opponent's turn, so you got to make do with that. Next, I'm running 3 copies of Pathfinder. Pathfinder is super dope because once you summon it, its effect, you contribute this card, add 1 field spell from your deck to your hand. So then you can immediately search your field spell and pop off other combos from there. This card is a must-have as well in this deck because you don't really normal summon in this deck. You're just looking for the field spell and then you're trying to special summon as many monsters as you can. So I think it's necessary. Next, I'm running 3 copies of Swift Scarecrow. Swift Scarecrow's effect is when your opponent's monster declares a direct attack, which a lot of times in this deck, against this deck, they will. You can discard this card, negate the attack, then end the battle phase, and this is a quick effect. So definitely something worth looking into. Next, I like to run 2 copies of Winged Dragon of Rust Fear Mode and 2 copies of Lava Golem. Now this is just to remove the opponent's tricky monsters that get in the way. You can honestly switch these for anything else. If you just want to put in Kaijus, just in case your opponent only has 1 monster on the field or whatever, that's probably useful as well. Also, maybe if you want to put in some hand traps, this probably would be the cards that you want to switch out. That, along with, I also run 1 copy of Dino Wrestler Pankratops. You know its effect, you special summon it, and then you can go ahead and tribute it to destroy a monster on the field. Alright, so those are all the monsters that I run in this deck. Next, we're going to be taking a look at the spell cards. I like to run 3 copies of the field spell Numeron Network. Numeron Network is super dope because its effect is during your main phase, send 1 Numeron normal spell card that meets its activation conditions from your deck to the graveyard. This effect becomes that spell's effect. When that card is activated, you can only use this effect of Numeron Network once per turn. Numeron Xyz monsters you control can activate effects without detaching materials. You need 3 of these in this deck. This is what allows you to search for your spell card, as well as search and play your spell card, as well as spam out a bunch of monsters on the field that are essentially your OTK. In order to search that, I run 1 copy of Terraforming as well. And then the normal spell that you most likely will be using to search with your Numeron Network is the card Numeron Calling. I run 3 of these. Its effect is if Numeron Network is in your field zone and you control no monsters, special summon up to 4 Numeron Gate Xyz monsters with different names from the extra deck, but banish them during the end phase. You can only normal special summon once for the rest of this turn. Yeah. Next, I like to run 3 copies of Memories of Hope. Memories of Hope is super dope because you spam out 4 essentially Xyz monsters, and then you can use this thing's effect. Draw cards equal to the number of Xyz monsters with different names you control. You can only activate 1 Memories of Hope per turn. So if you manage to get all 4 of them out there, which most of the time you will, then you have a Memories of Hope. You can draw a bunch of cards and you'll be stacked for next turn as well. Next is some of the monster removal spell cards I like to use. I like to run 2 copies of Raigeki and 1 copy of Dark Hole. Now, Dark Hole doesn't really have that much of a negative impact in this deck because most of the time when you're using it, you won't have a monster on your side of the field. So this is essentially the same thing as Raigeki. I just didn't have a 3rd Raigeki, so I put in a Dark Hole. I could see 3 Raigekis. I don't know if Dark Hole is limited or not anymore, but I could see there are 3 Dark Holes as well if it's not limited anymore. Next are the shuffling cards. You essentially want to make sure you have the best hand possible, right? So that's why I like to run 3 copies of Magical Mallet. You can add any number of cards from your hand to the deck and shuffle it. Then draw the same number of cards you added to the deck. And then I also like to run 3 copies of Reload. Reload is similar. Add your hand to your deck and shuffle it, and then draw the same number of cards that you added to your deck. So it's you don't get to choose which ones, but If you ever find yourself having like a bad hand, or you don't need you essentially just need the field spell. If you don't end up drawing it, or a way to search the field spell, then you can use one of these. Next, for spell removal, I like to run a copy of Harpy's Feather Duster. Next are the trap cards. So I like to run 1, 2, 3 copies of Torrential Tribute. When your opponent summons a monster, destroy all monsters on the field. Or it's when a monster is summoned, but you're most likely going to be using it when your opponent summons one. So it's definitely something to consider, because you're not going to have anything on your side of the field most of the time anyway, because after you attack with all your Numeron monsters, let's say you don't OTK right away, you're going to have all your monsters banished. And so setting this will save your life for the next turn. And then lastly, for the trap cards, I like to run 3 copies of Waboku, and this is probably another card you could probably switch out for like any type of hand trap you please, but I like this as it is. Maybe even you can put Threatening Roar, but any damage inflicted by an opponent's monster is ceased to 0. And okay, this one I think is the modern already. You take no battle damage for your opponent's monster's turn. Your monsters cannot be destroyed by battle this turn. That's, I think, the modern version of it. But yes, so basically the point is to bring out the 4 extra deck monsters. So moving on to the extra deck monsters themselves, I like to run 3 copies of number 1, Numeron Gate Ekam. Its effect is cannot be destroyed by battle. At the end of the damage step, if this card battled an opponent's monster, you can detach 1 material from this card, double the attack of all Numeron monsters you currently control till the end of this turn. Now, as you'll notice, it won't have any materials, but the field spell allows it to use its effect without detaching materials. So, and then next, I like to run 3 copies of number 2. Number 2 also takes 3 level 1 monsters, but that doesn't really matter because we can cheese them out. Cannot be destroyed by battle. At the end of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can detach 1 material from this card, which once again you don't have to do. Double the attack of all Numeron monsters. So basically all these things do is you attack, you double the monsters, attack, you double the monsters, and then you go number 3, which I run 3 copies of, attack, you double the monsters, and then 3 copies of number 4, and then you attack and you double all the monsters. So since you have 4, I'm going to dig out my number 1, where the hell did it go? Number 2, number 3, and number 4. So let's say I'm attacking any monster, so attack. All of these would have 2,000 attack. These 2 would have 4,000 attack. This would have 8,000. Usually that is enough to win the game. It is getting kind of windy, so I got to put my hands over the cards here. But anyways, guys, this is Plotter McCards signing out for the day. If you like my Numeron deck, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. And oh my goodness, look at the time.
It's time to do